have this great podcast here with Alicia McNaughton from Park Realty, right?
Park Place.
Park Place Realty.
Park Place
And
Real Estate.
she is like probably one of the best up and coming real estate agents in Chautauqua County right now. Like you're really like blowing up.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm trying.
I think you're doing great. Like I've seen like your stuff everywhere. So you have your background is in house flipping, in design, so you kind of know everything about the house.
Yeah.
Before you even got into real estate.
Yeah, it's kind of cool because before I got into real estate, since I was doing renovations and I was running a business, construction side of things, and a home renovation design consultant, it's cool now kind of shifting gears to real estate. And now when I bring clients into houses, not only do I see it for like what you see on, the property condition disclosure form and what you see in the MLS and the listing, like I can see what's happening with like the functionality of the house, or ooh, that's something we might want to look out for. So it's kind of nice to have that knowledge in my back pocket.
Yeah, I mean, because you don't realize that when someone's buying a house, those little things that you can bring to their attention that another agent may not know because they've never been through that before.
Yeah.
So I think that's awesome.
And it is nice because sometimes it's easy as, if it's the fifth home you've bought or the first home you bought, you can get nervous about things that seem big, but they're not big. You can kind of put their, anxieties to rest. And sometimes if things are concerning and you're seeing these red flags, you can also bring that to their attention. You just want to be open and honest with them so they know what they're getting themselves into. That's number one for me.
Yeah, and it's working. I mean, obviously, like your business, I see you everywhere.
I like that you see me everywhere.
So I see you like all over social media. Like I personally worked with your borrowers and they've nothing but great things. So it makes my job easier as a loan officer. So
you make like my life 10 times easier though, as the loan officer. And that's why I'm like, you gotta go call Chris in Nickel City.
Yeah, well, thank you. So, question for you now: if I'm a first-time home buyer or I'm looking to buy a house in the market right now, I know everyone's all about rates, right? So for us, our feeling is like, look at, even though the rates are higher, you might, some people may not want to buy, so there might be more opportunity to negotiate. Or, when the rates do drop, we can definitely refinance you. From your standpoint as a real estate agent, like, what do you what's advice that you can give a first-time home buyer when they're looking at houses, or, when they're ready to put an offer? It's something that you can maybe give them so they have a little bit more knowledge, going into the process.
Yeah, there's a couple different things. So I am currently working with first-time home buyers, as you know, because you're working with them as well with me.
Yeah.
One thing is this doesn't, if you're looking for a house right now, it doesn't have to be your forever home. Mm-hmm. So if you end up, putting your roots down, you like it, you stay, you can refinance if you're not comfortable with that interest rate when rates come down. Obviously, it's hard to say what's going to happen. Or you could end up making it an investment property at some point, resale down the road. My biggest advice to buyers right now, though, is do not buy a house if you believe that you're going to be selling it fairly quickly.
Yeah.
I have unfortunately seen a lot of buyers do that in the last year or so, and that makes it difficult. So just make sure you kind of have a game plan for what you're doing with this house, and you kind of have all your ducks in a row.
That's awesome. I mean, like, I know for when we talk about buyers and we want to when they ready to buy a house, we always say, work as many hours as you can. Don't try to purchase anything, and save as much as you can.
No new credit cards.
No new credit cards.
New car pulling up to a showing. I will have a panic attack.
Yeah. And don't decide to take like 2 weeks off of work.
Yeah.
While you're under contract, or like, oh, I'm gonna take vacation, or buy a new car or something like that. So totally. Now, on the flip side of that, if you have a person that's I'm thinking to sell my house. How can I get the most out of it? I mean, I know with the experience in design that you have, it's got to be one of the big factors that you can help people, or one of the advantages of working with you. But what would you tell a person who wants to sell the house what they should do to get their max?
Yes. So first I make an appointment with them. I go out and I see the house before I do any CMAs and kind of figure out what I believe
Now, what's a CMA?
So a CMA is where I go and see the house. I'm going to go check it out. I'm going to see the rooms, the quality. I'm going to ask about mechanical, certain things about the house. I'm going to go back to my office and I'm going to check out comps in the area. Mm-hmm. So I want to find other houses that are comparable to yours and what they sold for. So when I bring you my price of, hey, this is what I think is the best price to list your house at, you're not required to take it, but this is my professional opinion. I'm also showing you proof. I'm showing you, well, this house sold this far away 2 months ago for this much, and it's very comparable to your house because of this. So
That's huge.
yeah, and a lot of other, I mean, everybody does things different. There's some people that can go and they're like, this is the price right off the bat. That's great. Of course, when I go see a house, I have an idea in my head.
Yeah.
But I want to go back home. I want to have the research to, back me up and the proof right there to kind of be like, this is why I think that. Now, sometimes I have sellers that are like, yes, let's go with it. I trust you. And sometimes you have sellers that are like, I'd like to get a little bit more. Ultimately, I work for my seller. So I'm going to do what my seller wants. So I'm
Right.
going to list it at where they want it, and I'm going to do my best to sell it for what they want.
So like if I'm selling my house, what if I have so much money maybe to upgrade my home, where should I put that money into?
Kitchens and baths,
Kitchen
so
and
the
bath.
big one, of course.
Okay.
Yeah, kitchen and bath. Small little things though that just to kind of like shift gears just like a little bit is also that doesn't really take money is declutter your house, depersonalize your house. I'm sure you guys have heard it all the time before, but getting off your family photos on the wall, as beautiful as they are and as gorgeous and all the money you spent on the pictures and the canvases and everything, when you walk into a house and that's what you see, that's who you envision that owns that house. You're not seeing yourself in that house.
Really? I never knew that.
Yeah, decluttering, obviously that's a big one, that's easy and such, but the pictures. Another thing is getting down anything political, especially at this time of year. So, you have a big flag and it kind of states what president you'd like to, win the election. That can turn away half your buyers.
Yeah.
Just that alone, I have had showings before with buyers out in Erie County where I come out here and there is a flag for a president that they don't like across the street. Instant turn off. Done.
It's funny you say that. I had a borrower that called me, went through all the numbers and loved, everything I had to say. And then he just, and normally I'm not like political. Like I am so neutral. I don't ever talk about political.
Right.
And then he asked me a question about somebody and I said, yeah, I like that person. And his response was, well, I won't be doing business with you.
Yes, people.
And I'm like, that's insane. Like
I see it all the time in real estate, all the time, and you would think like, what do you mean politics is going to get involved here? And people find out your political stance, so you keep it off social media, keep it off your property and your house. That's something small that some people might not think of. They're like, oh, it's just so like a magnet on my fridge. Get it down. Get it down.
Right.
I don't care whether I agree with you or disagree with you, it doesn't matter to me. You just want to maximize your chances of getting an offer as quickly as possible and getting the most for your house.
I mean, I seriously, I never even knew about like the whole. I would have thought that if I sold my house, I would have personal pictures up. Like I never even thought about that's a good advice. I think that's great advice.
Yeah, it's hard. It's just like when you go to show a house and they're still living in the house. That's going to happen a lot of the time. It is hard sometimes to look over their furniture and remember just to look for the space as it is. But then when they're living in the house and then you have pictures everywhere too, it can be difficult. Even though it makes the aesthetic of the home look nice and flowy and warm and welcoming, it's hard to envision now you and your kids or your dogs or whoever in that space.
That's great.
It's a mind over matter thing, but it's an easy thing you can do to help with the listing.
So I'll kind of like finish with this because I know we can talk all day about real estate. So we're so passionate about it, I think. And I think that's what makes you really good is that you're so passionate about what you do. Right?
You as well.
Yeah, I mean, I love doing one. So, but so if I had to kind of say, what do you think the craziest house you sold?
Are you ready though?
I'm ready.
Okay.
You can tell me. What
All
do you
right.
think?
So I had a listing in the North Collins area, and this house was it had to be a flipper renovation, okay? So it was a cash only deal, or maybe a rehab loan. I listed this, and I'm seeing the house, I'm hearing about the situation and how it got into poor condition, and I have a lot of sympathy for my seller because it wasn't her choice for the house to kind of get to be run down like it was, and thinking nothing of it. I used to buy houses that we flipped and they were rough, and you smell the animal smell in there, whatever, doesn't faze me until she goes, let's go for a walk out back, and her neighbor looked at me and just goes, huh. And I was like, this is where I die. This is it. This is the end. Why am I going for a walk out back?
Yeah, she's got a whole argument.
No, super sweet lady. So sarcasm, of course. But so we're walking out back, and then it's just a wooded line with a little drop off behind it, and it was off of her property. We're looking. So we're on the property and everything's good. And I was like, that's really nice. You don't have houses back there. It's not even an open field. It's woods. How beautiful. And she's like, you see all those things? And I was like, yeah, what are they? And she's like, those are unmarked graves. And I
Oh
was
my
like, what do
God.
you mean? She's like, yeah, there's like 2,000 unmarked graves. And I was like,
2,000?
and it's just the cast iron like rods in the ground. And I was like, from where? And it was from the old psych ward. And they
Oh,
used to just
Jesus.
kind of, so, but it was interesting to say the least.
Did someone buy that house?
Yeah, someone bought the house and they knew about it. I couldn't, even though it was not on the property, but of course everybody at the open house or my showings that I did asked her like, is that a pet cemetery? And I'm like, not quite, and I was honest with them because if they're asking, I'm not keeping that from them. People thought it was cool. People thought it was like interesting. People really liked that I told the truth about it.
Yeah.
They were like, oh my gosh, I can't believe you just came right out and said that. I'm like, you're gonna be living here, But it is, the Mental Health Association goes down there once a year and they let off balloons back there, and the state owns that property. So the property doesn't necessarily go with the
Ghost
house, but it's
hunters.
right behind it. Yeah.
Ghost
Super
hunters
cool.
are there every year.
Super cool. I never thought that was gonna happen, so.
That's awesome. Well, I tell you what, I think, if those home buyers out there, if any, whoever's going to be watching this, hopefully there'll be a lot, you definitely got to give Alicia a call because she's wonderful to work with.
Please do.
Yeah. So I appreciate you coming on with me.
Yeah, I appreciate you bringing me out.
and driving up here to talk with us, and I look forward to hopefully we can do this again.
Oh, yeah.
Like I'll do this with you like every month if you want.
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah. All right. Well, thanks. This is a great episode of the Nickel City podcast. Look forward to seeing everyone soon.